They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they watch you.
Come on, hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
The year 2020 is indeed an eventful year, as it is the year Nigeria is celebrating 60 years since it gained independence from colonization. Likewise, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, is celebrating 20 years since she began the journey of reducing corruption to its barest minimum in Nigeria. Today on the program, we shall be looking at the celebration of the Commission's anniversary, which climaxed with the second National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in the Public Sector with the theme, Together Against Corruption. The summit was held as part of activities to mark Nigeria's celebration of its Diamond Jubilee. Welcome to Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiayi. Welcome back. In his address at the summit, which held at the Villa, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, lauded the giant strides the Commission has made over the years in ensuring that corruption is tamed in the country.
In my inaugural speech in 2015, I affirmed the determination of this administration to rebuild and reform the public service to become more effective and serviceable. I charge public servants to apply themselves with integrity to stabilize the system and solicited the cooperation of the legislative arm to maintain their brief of making laws and carrying out oversight functions. In the same speech, I called for the reform of the judicial system and for the judiciary to act with dispatch in cases, especially cases on corruption, serious financial crimes, and abuse of office. I believe that it is when the three arms and the three levels of government work together that government will be enabled to serve the country. We will also see the positive impact of our efforts reaching all and sundry across the country. Bearing this critical factor in mind, I am happy that the theme of this year's summit by ICPC is Together Against Corruption. I am aware that this theme derives from the theme of our 60th anniversary celebration. Together as a nation, as a people, the three arms and three tiers of government working together, we can attack corruption and realize the vast potentials of our country. I want to commend the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and the ICPC for organizing this summit and including in the program an opportunity for the three arms of government to indicate their roles in meeting the aspiration of Nigerians to have a corruption free society.
Delivering the welcome address for the summit, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, said that the theme of this year's summit is a call for unity and concerted effort in the fight against corruption. Let us hear him.
The significance of tackling corruption in public service is anchored on the fact that they remain the main vehicle for formulating and implementing government programs and policies, which implies that they drive all the necessary processes for good governance. In this wise, if the public service is mired in corruption or corrupt practices, it provides an unfettered opportunity for the private sector and other Nigerians to engage in such practices. However, if the public service abides by the required rules and regulations for conducting businesses, and such opportunities are reduced, if not eliminated, and they would form the bulwark in dealing with corrupt practices. This summit, Your Excellency, is a follow-up to last year's National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in the Public Sector, jointly organized by my office and the ICPC. The theme of this year's summit is Together Against Corruption, in consonance with the theme of our 60th independence anniversary. This year's theme is a call for unity and concerted efforts in the fight against corruption. It stresses that fighting corruption is not the work of government alone. Every citizen, faith-based organizations, traditional institutions, and civil societies, the media, and the private sector and youths must join in this fight.
"20 years ago, Africa's foremost anti-corruption agency, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, was born. From year 2000 to date, the Commission has had 4 governing boards headed by late Justice Mustafa Akambi, Justice Emmanuel Olayinka Ayola, Mr. Ekbo Unta, and Professor Bolaji Owasonye. The Commission has a 3-pronged mandate of enforcement, prevention, and public education and enlightenment. As part of its enforcement mandate, over 20,808 petitions have been received, with about 5,000 successfully investigated and over 1,000 prosecuted in court. Assets worth billions of naira, including cash, houses, plots of land, and vehicles, have also been recovered. Under the prevention mandate, the Commission has undertaken system studies and reviews, conducted corruption risk assessments, established anti-corruption and transparency units (ACTUs) in 445 MDAs, whilst also administering the Ethics and Compliance Scorecard. Furthermore, the Commission made inputs into the introduction and design of the Port Service Support Portal, the BVN, IPPIS, and GIFMIS. In terms of public education and enlightenment, ICPC has developed various platforms to sensitize the Nigerian public against corruption and advocate for values reorientation. These include the National Values Curriculum, anti-corruption clubs and vanguards for students, a coalition of civil society organizations, citizens engagement forums, and outreaches to NYSC members. Recently, too, ICPC initiated the National Ethics and Integrity Policy in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and National Orientation Agency for the good and ethical conduct of the Nigerian citizenry, which the President is to launch. To enhance citizen involvement and feedback, a whistleblower toll-free hotline has been launched with a smart number 0800 Call ICPC. Further to the public education mandate, the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria, ACAN, was established to conduct ethics and integrity trainings for the public and has trained about 14,000 participants. In 2018, it organized CRA training for heads of anti-corruption agencies in African Union as part of President Buhari's role as the AU anti-corruption champion. The current ICPC board has since its inauguration followed the footsteps of its predecessors by improving on the mandate of the commission. Some new initiatives include the Constituency and Executive Projects Tracking Initiative to monitor zonal intervention projects and executive projects and tracking of the social investment programs of government. In pursuit of these projects and other objectives, ICPC has collaborations with Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, FIRS, NOA, NTA, PEBEC, AMCON, to mention a few. In 2019, the Commission, in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, introduced the Public Service Integrity Award to honor public servants who exhibit exemplary acts of integrity in the performance of their duties. To enhance operations, ICPC through the years has empowered its staff with new skills and equipment. The Commission recently acquired a newly equipped forensic lab and trained officers on polygraph and handwriting analysis and other modern investigative tools. Going forward, the Commission is braced up with new visions and strategies to navigate the ever-dynamic world of anti-corruption, especially in view of the current world challenges. The success recorded by the Commission in the last 20 years would not have been possible without its amazing and committed staff in the headquarters and all its 15 state offices, management, the past and present boards who gave themselves totally to the fight against corruption. We thank our partners, the government of Nigeria, and most importantly, the Nigerian people whom we are here to serve. We are poised to do better in the next 20 years. Congratulations, ICPC. Congratulations, Nigeria.
Also at the event, ICPC Chairman Professor Bolaji Owasonye gave a breakdown of some of the achievements of the Commission since inception. He mentioned the approval of the National Ethics and Integrity Policy by the Federal Executive Council. The policy was drafted by ICPC and received the note of the Council last month. Also, the Commission has introduced a number of people-oriented initiatives such as the Constituency and Executive Project Tracking Group, popularly called CEPTG, with amazing results. Let's hear him.
The 2020 exercise revealed some improvement in project delivery, although many challenges remain. We found, for example, sir, the categorization of projects by civil servants and MDAs as ongoing in order to get the Ministry of Finance and Budget and Planning to admit those projects. A number of the projects that were described as ongoing were actually found out to be new projects that ought to have been excluded in order to enable government complete existing projects as planned. Number two, we found the absence of needs assessment. Projects were recommended by sponsors for communities that did not require them. So, for example, we found recommended for some communities primary health care centers or hospitals that already existed, and when these are built, they can hardly be staffed nor equipped or furnished. We found the same thing with asking for computers for schools that already had computers. Tons of them are bought and left in boxes. Number three, some projects were found to be sited on private property or private houses or land, thus appropriating common assets to personal use without going through the formality of transferring such private land or property to the public or to the communities on which those projects are being sited, thus denying the communities of the benefit of the projects. We found, sir, number four, the absence of synergy between outgoing project sponsors and their successors. So, for example, if a legislator sponsors a project and did not return to the legislature, the project where it is half done with government public funds, they are abandoned, and the new person who comes in to represent that constituency or community simply nominates new projects, and the old projects are abandoned without regard for the money that had already been spent by the public. There's a rampant use of companies that are owned by officers of implementing MDAs or companies owned by sponsoring legislators or their family members to execute projects. If they are qualified, this itself is not a problem. The problem is that many of such projects end up being poorly done or inflated in terms of value, thus denying the public of what it deserves. We found that vague project description often results in diversion of funds by some of the implementing MDs or the project sponsor with a collusion of contractors. And we found also, finally, the absence of community ownership of projects, because communities are sometimes not consulted and they are often largely ignorant of projects that have been approved for them. In order to improve the delivery of executive and constituency projects, we again wish to recommend that government should, as a policy, prohibit MDAs from executing projects that are outside of their core mandate. This is because some of them have inadequate capacity, human capital, to supervise and properly implement those projects as intended by the sponsors and as intended by government. Secondly, we want to advise better synergy between project sponsors and benefiting communities. Implementing agencies should liaise with communities where necessary, for example, to designate where projects should be sited where the sponsor refuses to do so. Much more importantly, it helps the communities to take ownership of projects. It is one thing for a sponsor to recommend a project, but the community expectation that the sponsor will continue to maintain the projects for his lifetime is not fair on the sponsor. And so it is important that this should be clarified and a synergy between the community and the sponsors. The conversion of projects from appropriated ones to another one by sponsors or implementing MDAs should be severely punished. The Commission will, of course, in future, prosecute false description of projects as ongoing in order to smuggle them into the budget. The late releases of budget with short timeline for performance also leaves room for default.
You're still watching Corruption Must Go. Some major highlights of the day include launch of the National Ethics and Integrity Policy and public presentation of the ICPC Legacy Book. Others are the presentation of awards to deserving officers for the Public Service Integrity Award and winners of the music and essay competitions by the President. Some prominent personalities at the event, like the UN Resident Coordinator Edward Kalon, Attorney General and Honorable Minister of Justice Mr. Abubakar Malami, Chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti State Kayode Fayemi, Chief Justice of Nigeria Ibrahim Tanko, and the Senate President Ahmed Lawan had this to say in their goodwill messages on the theme of the occasion.
As the theme of the summit suggests, we need to work together as Nigerians, as arms and institutions of government to roll back corruption in our country. I believe that we can achieve our targets with a united front. I urge this summit to come up with actionable steps to rid Nigeria of corruption and forward proposals requiring legislation to the National Assembly for action.
Your scorecard by all standards is fascinating and portends more glorious days ahead. In every nation, including the developed ones, the fight against corruption has never and will never be an easy one. In most cases, if the dynamics of combat are not properly engaged, corruption itself will go on a full-blown fight back, and then the whole scenario becomes complicated.
The summit is a commendable one, for it provides a platform for the critical actors in policy, governance, enforcement, and adjudication to take a hindsight, insight, and foresight view of the war so as to continue to responsibly reinvigorate the fight against corruption. It is beyond debate to acknowledge the many successes that the ICPC has recorded in the discharge of its mandate since its existence. The Commission has done fairly commendably in prosecution, in surveillance, and in policy advocacy.
The fight against corruption is indeed a collaborative issue, and no arm of government, neither an institution, can succeed in fighting it all alone. It is a collective responsibility, and we must work hard to establish that spirit of togetherness, that spirit of collaboration, and that spirit of cooperation as far as the fight against corruption is concerned.
This summit indeed signifies another step in demonstrating Nigeria's commitment to the global fight against corruption. Excellency, the United Nations Convention Against Corruption provides tools for countries to prevent, control, and combat corruption, including the recovery of proceeds of crime.
As we observe safety measures, and support our health and frontline workers in fighting COVID-19, corruption, abuse of power, diversion, and misuse of public funds approved for mitigating the impact of coronavirus must be exposed. Be a coronavirus whistleblower. Report abuse in the management of COVID-19 fund and palliative to ICPC on toll-free number 0800 2255 4272 or AfricMail on 0811 877 1666. Email tips@corruptionanonymous.org. This message is from the African Center for Media and Information Literacy, AfricMail, in partnership with ICPC.
That will be all on today's edition of the program. Remember that you can watch this edition and others on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/ICPC Nigeria. You can also visit our website, www.icpc.gov.ng, for update on our activities, complaints, or suggestions. Follow us on our various social media platforms on the handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. Once again, happy 60th anniversary Nigeria. Happy 20th anniversary ICPC. Thank you for staying with us.